Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me all right? Can you please let me know if the sound is good, if you guys can hear me? It's great to be back here again. I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee, in my room here, my house. Camera set up, everything set up here, and very, very excited for the show tonight. And I'll tell you guys here we have a very, very special guest, and I'll talk about him in a second. First of all here, so if you're watching us, can you please let me know where you are? I know there are some people here, most people here in the US, but just write where you're from. That would be great, just so I know who I'm talking to. Se você estiver no Brasil, também tem algumas pessoas do Brasil aí, por favor. Coloquem lá, o live stream vai ser em inglês, mas se tiver perguntas em português, pode escrever no chat que a gente vai responder. So, yeah, we have people from Brazil, we have people from a few different places. So, yeah, make sure you type your name there so I know who you are. Yeah, it's really exciting. It's a great part of my week, like every Thursday. I've been doing that for over a month now. We had some really, really great guests. I had a few of my colleagues here from Belmont University, some great musicians here in town. I had João Cacias Luthier from Brazil, the guy who made that guitar over there, this guitar right here. Great instrument. I had Conrado Paulino last week, great a guitarist from Brazil too. So it's really nice to have this variety of people here on the show. So it's a great hang. We always have a wonderful time, and it's great to have you guys here with us. Without you guys watching, there's no point. So awesome, very exciting. Let me tell you guys a couple of things here today. We are going to learn a little bit about this guest that I have that I'm going to be bringing in a few minutes. But before we do that, before I talk about him a little bit, I want to just let you guys know that we, in the second part of the show today, are going to be sharing some tips for guitarists and also other instruments too, people who are interested in improvisation. So we're going to be sharing some ideas here for you guys later. And if you're a guitarist, I've released a few new videos on my channel. One how to play the caged chords on the guitar. If you don't know what that is, you should check it out. It's there. There's also another video about picking and speed and accuracy. You might want to check it out too. Great, very good. So let me talk about our guest today. His name is Adam McPhail. He's a great guitarist based here in Nashville. Also teach at Belmont University. He's a very busy touring musician, play with a lot of different people. And there are a few very interesting things about him. He's a pretty young guitarist in age, but has a lot of experience, both teaching and playing. He's here from the United States, from Mississippi, I believe. He'll correct me if I'm wrong. And he also went to Belmont University, got his master's degree there. So I'm gonna check to see if he's around here. I don't know if he's here yet. Let's see. I'm hoping he's here somewhere. Adam McPhail, are you here with us?
What's up, man? I'm here.
Yeah, man. How are you doing? Good to see you.
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Thanks again for joining us here tonight.
Absolutely. My pleasure to be here.
Great. I'm going to say right away, I like your background. Have some cool guitars over there. I see at least 4.
Thank you. I have a few. I actually have a whole wall of them right here that you can't see. I've got too many at this point.
Okay, that's awesome. That's great. So I was telling our friends here who are watching about you. So you were born in Mississippi. Are you from Mississippi?
I was born in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Great. So a few of the people who are here with us: Fernando Souza from Brazil, Rangel Luiz Miranda from Brazil. Isaac Araújo Gomes, também from Brazil. Have a few people from Brazil here. Valeu, galera do Brasil aí pela presença. Some friends from Brazil. Canal de História. Professor Rodrigo Ferreira, um abraço. And we also have Barry McPhail. I think you might know this person.
That's my uncle.
Oh, great. Thank you for joining us. Really, really exciting. Awesome. So let's start maybe before we play and before we say anything, can you tell us a little bit about your story? There are a couple of things about your story that I already know. I know that you, at some point of your life, you played with B.B. King. So let's save that for later. Let's skip that. But I'm curious about this. And also, you played with Mark Lettieri and some big names in the gospel world. But if you want to talk a little bit about your beginnings, how you started on the guitar, how you ended up in Nashville.
Okay. So when I was in, I believe, 5th grade, I had some friends who were playing in a rock band. And I had never played guitar at that point. I honestly think prior to that point, I had been listening to like hip hop music and stuff like that. And they performed at a talent show, and I remember they played like Wild Thing, I think like Jimi Hendrix's version or something, and I just kind of fell in love, so I wanted a guitar. So the next year, in 6th grade, my dad got me a guitar for my 13th birthday, and I started out playing rock music, kind of like a lot of us do. I was learning AC/DC, Metallica, and Stevie Ray Vaughan, kind of learning just tabs, online. And so that was kind of my first love was rock and roll music and blues. And I started taking lessons from a guy in Hattiesburg named Kerry Hudson. And he's an extremely accomplished singer-songwriter, but really good guitar player. He's kind of a mixture of blues and Americana and folk. And he taught me basically the blues scale, and that changed my life, the pentatonic scale. And so that opened up a whole world to me of improvising. So my early years were spent playing blues and rock music, and throughout high school, I was playing in rock bands and heavy metal bands. And, I was usually like the young guy. I was like a freshman, 14, 15 years old, playing with like seniors and stuff. So I managed to sneak my way into some of the bars, around town.
I bet that was a great school for you, right? Like a great learning process for you, right?
It was. I kind of learned the ropes really early, because I started gigging around like 14 years old, like. Mm-hmm. So I kind of learned the do's and don'ts kind of early on. But my dad was very supportive, came out to every show. If they ever said, well, he can't play in Mississippi, as long as your parent was there, it was okay. So he would come out, and he was a really great support.
Hey,
so I was doing that throughout high school.
I'm gonna just summarize a little bit. There are a lot of people from Brazil today for some reason, and it's great. I'm just gonna summarize for them what you said a little bit. Really short. So, Adam é aqui do Mississippi, aqui nos Estados Unidos, e ele nasceu e tocou muito rock, blues, e cresceu aí tocando AC/DC, Metallica, entre outras bandas, e começou a fazer gigs muito cedo também, aos 14 anos. Adam?
Okay, so basically, high school was rock and blues. When I got to college, I went to the University of Southern Miss. And I was in the jazz studies program, and the head of the program was Larry Piniella, who's a really great saxophone player. He was in the UNT 1 o'clock big band. He toured with Phil Collins and Maynard. Was it Maynard? It might have been Glenn Miller. I can't remember who I always played with, but very accomplished guy. So I learned a lot about jazz music when I got to college. I'm kind of opened up my harmonic knowledge and my scale knowledge. But throughout college, I was playing with a guy named Adam Doleac, who is an artist from my town, but he's now signed to Sony Records, and he's based out of Nashville. So my whole undergrad experience, pretty much, I'm not going to say every weekend, but most weekends, I was playing shows in the southeastern area, like Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, Alabama, all those. We pretty much had shows every weekend. So there were times where, I'd be on the road, and I'd come home and get back at like 7 a.m. and then have class at 8 a.m., have like English or something. And so I was playing a lot of gigs, but while studying jazz. That was basically my college experience. I played in the big band at Southern Miss. And then my senior year is when got my first gig playing at a church, a predominantly African American church, and that's where I found gospel music, and that was like a big change in my life. Like that was literally a turning point in my the way I thought about music, and gospel literally became like a love of my life, and that was my senior year of college, so that was a big turning point for me.
Great. Very good. So, and tell us a little bit. So, how did you end up in Nashville? How was this?
So I ended up in Nashville. I went to grad school at Belmont. I came in 2015. So I graduated from Southern and immediately went to Belmont. It was the only school I applied to, and luckily I got in. I was the only grad student they took in that year. So basically I came to Nashville for grad school, but part of it wasn't just for school, it was to be in the city, because where I was from, I mean, there was a pretty good music scene, but obviously Nashville had a lot more opportunities for me.
Great. And actually that kind of, that's how we met, right? We have an interesting story here of how we met. That was about, I want to say, 3 years ago, a little over 3 years, is that right? 2017.
Yeah, it would have been almost 4 years, I think.
4 years, yes. So, when they opened up the job here at Belmont, I was in Colorado at the time, and I was finishing my doctorate. And they opened a position here, and then they did the search. And Adam, at that point, he was finishing his degree as a master's student here at Belmont. And I still remember, you let me use your amp. I still remember that. I flew from Colorado here with my guitar and my stuff, and I used your amp for that gig, for the actual audition, right?
I remember they had some 15-watt little practice amps set up, and I was like, "Nah, you can just use my amp." I always keep an amp in my car, so I was like, I figured you'd be a little more comfortable on my amp.
Yeah, no, it was great, we chatted that day, and it's great. I mean, I was fortunate to be hired, get the job, and right after you graduated, and you were also hired to teach. So we became colleagues at Belmont, which is great. It's amazing. I'm gonna translate for my Brazilian friends here. Conheci o Adam quando eu vim para aqui para Nashville, quando eu fui fazer a prova para ser professor aqui em Nashville. O Adam estava terminando o mestrado e ele me emprestou o amplificador dele, a gente ficou amigo. Eu passei no concurso para professor, fui contratado, e o Adam também, logo em seguida que ele se formou, também convidaram ele como professor também. Então hoje a gente é colega aqui, ele é um amigão. Adam is a great friend and someone that I really admire, great player. We're talking a lot and my voice is actually getting scratchy, so maybe it's time for you to play something for us. What do you think?
All right, I can play a little something. There we go.
Yeah, Adam, that sounds great, man. Sounds
Thank you.
really
Thank you.
great. Can you tell us about a little bit about what you just played?
Absolutely. At the beginning, I was kind of just improvising. A big part of gospel is chordal language. So I was playing in the key of F sharp. So what I like to do on the guitar is I've spent a good amount of time around keyboard players. So I try to approach my chords more in a fluid sense, like a keyboard player would play, rather than just like block chords, like a lot of guitarists do, you know. So I was kind of just improvising. So I'll go through some of the patterns I was doing. Like one of them, and I actually learned this from a good friend of mine named Justin Gray.
Mm-hmm.
He's a phenomenal guitarist in Mississippi.
Mhm.
He's a gospel guy. He is absolutely incredible.
Great. So Adam's gonna demonstrate some things here for you guys. Adam vai demonstrar aqui algumas coisas que ele acabou de tocar. Ele toca muita música gospel. He's gonna demonstrate a couple things for us.
Okay, so what I like to do is I play a melody that leads into a chord. So for example, one passage I played, the melody I played 1, 2, 3, 4, and I landed on a 2 minor chord. So 2 minor 7, which if you're thinking F sharp would be G sharp minor 7, or if you're thinking G flat would be A flat minor 7. And I'll probably communicate in numbers because it might be easier for you to apply this to other keys. So, and then I play a melody. So that's a 1 major 9 over 3. So it's a 1 major 9 in first inversion. So I'm trying to connect very fluidly with these melodies. So and that chord is a 4 major 9 over 6. So a 4 in first inversion. So and then 5 sus. And then they are altered, so it's a 13 flat 9.
Mhm. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
We are getting some comments here. We have Lucas Pinheiro. It's a friend of mine from Brazil. Really enjoying your music.
Thank you.
Rafael, Fernando, Valdemar. Great to have you guys here. Today's a Brazilian day here for some reason. A lot of Brazilians here. So
Works for me. You have to translate.
yeah, that's all good. Muito bom, very good. So let's talk a little bit about. So you when you were a kid, you got to meet B.B. King. right? So, and you played with him. So I wanted you to tell us a little bit about what happened. Let me just translate the question here. Tô perguntando pro Adam aqui como que foi essa experiência de ter conhecido e tocado com o B.B. King quando ele era mais jovem, o grande rei do blues B.B. King. So tell us about this experience with B.B. King.
Okay, so I was actually 13. This was in my first year of playing. This was well after I learned how to play the blues. As I mentioned earlier, Kerry Hudson, my friend, taught me how to play, and we saw on the paper he used to do a workshop called Coming Home to the Delta. He did that every year, and it was in Itabena, Mississippi, which is way up north in the Mississippi, the flatlands, the Delta, where he's from, that area. Mm-hmm. And so they had basically an audition. So they would bring up a couple kids at a time, and they would just play a 12-bar blues, either, dominant chord based or minor blues. And they point at you and you take a solo, maybe a chorus or two. And at the end, they chose 4 people. So I'm not going to say I won per se, but I was chosen. I was one of 4 chosen. I was 13 at the time. There was a 14-year-old, there was a 16-year-old, and an 18-year-old. So I was the youngest guy who got to play with them.
Mm-hmm. So you were 14? You were 14?
I was 13.
13, ok. So, let me tell, people are gonna be interested in that. Então, o Adam aqui, ele participou desse concurso, ele é do estado do Mississippi, e participou desse concurso e ele foi um dos vencedores, num grupo de 4 estudantes. Ele tinha 13 anos de idade, outro tinha 14, eu tinha 16, ele era o mais jovem, e aos 13 anos de idade ele tocou com B.B. King. And how was the actual performance? Como foi essa coisa de ter tocado com ele? The actual performance.
So the performance was amazing. B.B. walks in the room and of course gets a standing ovation for 30 minutes. It felt like, people would just not stop clapping, Mm-hmm. And he was elderly at that point in his career, mm-hmm. And so he would sit down, he has arthritis, his knees were kind of weak. He was a little overweight at that point. And so he talked to the crowd. He's very charismatic without even trying, or he was very charismatic. And so we listened to him talk about life and where he's from and how he used to work in the fields as a kid. And then we started talking about music. And then we started playing, and the whole time we're just playing 12-bar blues progressions, And BB would solo, and then he might point at one of us, and it's like, your turn. And then he went down the line, and we all got to take solos with B.B. King. And this went on for an hour. We did many keys. It wasn't just one little snippet. I played with him a solid hour.
That's great, man. That's exciting. Então, o Adam tá contando aqui dessa coisa dessa experiência com B.B. King, que ele era muito carismático e já tava já com a idade avançada, né? Então, ele... problema de artrite e tal, mas mesmo assim tinha um carisma, e eles tocaram blues por 1 hora, assim, em várias tonalidades e tal, e o B.B. King apontava assim para cada um tocar. Então parece que foi uma experiência bem bacana. That's great. That's really awesome, Adam, that you got to do that. Do you have any pictures of that? You should send it to me sometime.
I do. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, that's great. We didn't plan that, so if you have it, would be great. Let's see who else is here. Marcelo Rodriguez, Roxy, I think she's your friend, Adam. Okay, if you have more people arriving, please say hi on the chat here. Say hi, and we want to know who you are and where you are. So just say where you are, so we know who we are talking to. Adam, can you show it again on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if... So Adam's showing us a picture of the gig he played with B.B. King. That's great, man. That's really amazing.
Young.
That's awesome.
It's a memory I will cherish my whole life. Honestly, man, I was too young to even understand what had just happened. You know, like
Uh-huh.
I wasn't quite mature as a person yet or a musician, you know, and it wasn't till years later when he passed away,
Mhm.
or maybe I think I started to understand around 16, you know, and I got really serious about guitar, like almost playing like professionally, you know,
Mhm.
and I was just like, man, I got to play with pretty much the one of the biggest, most influential blues guitarists of all time
Of
when I
all
was a kid.
time. Yes, that's
All time,
insane.
you know. It
That's
was,
crazy.
and then at that point, when I had kind of matured as a human a little more, and as a musician, that was when I realized like how special that opportunity
Uh-huh.
was.
Wow. Yeah. A lot of people would love to have had that opportunity, but it sounds like you enjoyed yourself, and your blues playing is great. I really enjoy. Like
Thank
I
you.
can definitely see that you have that style in your blood. So along with the gospel stuff, and it's a really great combination. So let's talk a little bit about the other gigs you played. Like you also played with Mark Lettieri. For those who don't know, Mark Lettieri is the guitarist for the fusion band Snarky Puppy. And tell us a little bit about your relationship with him and how were those gigs.
So I think I met Mark maybe. Well, to start off, I play in a band called Dynamo. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so we're a similar band in the same vein as Snarky Puppy, but obviously we're located in Nashville. So we've played shows. We haven't played shows with Snarky Puppy per se, but we've done shows with um, individuals out of their bands, their solo projects. You know, so I think I met Mark somewhere along the way. Kind of in that circle. And um, so what how the gig came about was since I was now an adjunct professor at Belmont, I talked to John, you know, our boss, John Pell, who's a great guitarist, great guy, and I talked to him about the possibility of bringing Mark in to do a clinic. And Mark, when he comes to Nashville, he generally tries to rope multiple things in. So he was doing some demos for a pedal company he works with. He came to Belmont, did a 1 hour clinic for us, and then we booked a show that night. So it was Mark, myself, Dorico Watson, Ryan Connors, and Adam Nitti. So the band was just awesome, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and
Mm-hmm.
we put together a bunch of songs, some of Ryan's songs, one of my songs, and some of Mark's songs, and we just put a little show together.
Mm-hmm. Great. That's awesome. That's really cool. And just before I forget, we also have a very strong influence from gospel music, and you've been playing with some artists. So, can you talk a little bit about it? Let me just translate that for everybody before I forget. Ele acabou de falar aqui da experiência dele tocando com Mark Lettieri da banda Snark Puppy, uma banda bem famosa aqui no meio fusion, assim, de música instrumental. E agora eu tô perguntando aqui a relação dele com a música gospel. So, gospel music.
Okay, so gospel, like I said, in my senior year of college, I was still living in Mississippi. Is when I got my first church gig per se, and I fell in love with the music. And you know, I started playing in church every Sunday. I moved to Nashville, and I started playing at a church called The Village, and it's a guy by the name of Mike Hicks, who is a really popular musician here in town. He's one of the head guys of the soul scene here. He has toured with Johnny Lang. He's toured with Kebmo. He's now the Rascal Flatts keyboard. So he's in a lot of different circles. But he brought me in at his church. But long story short, I just fell in love with the music. After playing in church for 6 years now, you just learn a ton of music, and you're always hearing great guitarists. Because if you listen to like gospel records, I mean, the musicianship is just out of this world, you know. So I
Mm-hmm.
picked up, along with my blues influence, you know, growing up in Mississippi, learned a lot of blues, and that really helped with my gospel playing. But the thing about gospel is it contains so many elements of every style of music I love. There's gospel songs that have rock guitar moments, there's blues moments, there's jazz moments, there's hip hop moments. It's a little bit of everything, you know. Um, so I kind of worked my way into the scene a little bit. You know, you just meet people and get called for gigs, this and that, and it kind of just compounds. And I think my bigger break was last year, at the tail end of last year, around November. I was invited to play at the Dove Awards, which is one of the biggest Christian award shows in the world, and it was actually the 50th anniversary of Dove Awards. So
Dub
I got
Awards. Dub,
Dove, Dove.
DOV. Dove,
Hmm.
ok. Let me just translate that to the guys. So, o Adam tá aqui falando da influência dele da música gospel e todas essas influências aí, essas combinações, né? Desde hip hop, jazz, rock, blues, todas essas coisas estão combinadas ali quando ele toca música gospel. E também essa coisa da musicalidade, que é muito forte no estilo e para as pessoas que fazem essa música acontecer, né? E ele o ano passado ele teve o big break dele, né? Que foi tocar nessa Dove Awards, que é uma premiação, acho que é a maior premiação de música gospel, de música cristã do mundo. Então foi um evento e tanto. Assim, lembro até quando ele me contou disso aí. That's great. That's great that you got to do all those things. So sounds like last year was a pretty good year for you.
It was good. The artists I got to play for. So the main artist, there were three that I played for. It was the traditional gospel set, and it was Shirley Caesar, and she's 81 years old. She's maybe 82 at this point, but she's considered the queen of gospel music. So she's like B.B. King level, but for gospel. She was in the Caravans, and she's just one of the most influential women in gospel. And I got to play with her, Dorinda Clark from the Clark Sisters, which is a legendary group. And then this girl named Jacqueline Carr, who was up for Grammys, and she's a younger girl, but she was a really, really famous, real prominent gospel artist at the time. 2 weeks later, I got asked to go out to California, and I played a gig with Corinne Hawthorne, who was like #1 on Billboard charts for like 26 weeks or something. She had a hit song, Won't He Do It, which is a big gospel hit. So I went out with her, and then came back. And since then, I've actually gotten to record with a guy named Vashawn Mitchell, who's another big gospel artist. So I've kind of found a place in that scene.
O Adam tá aqui compartilhando todos esses, o nome desses grandes artistas que ele tocou do meio gospel, que são famosos naquele nicho ali, né, da música gospel aqui nos Estados Unidos, e viajou bastante, foi pra Califórnia, voltou, fez gravações, várias coisas bacanas. That's great. So now let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing next. So I'm going to ask you to maybe play something else for us in a second here. And if you guys have questions for Adam or for me or for both of us, you guys it's about time for you guys to start sending questions. And what we are going to do, Adam's going to play something, and we are going to share a guitar tip for you guys. And it's not only guitar, it's applicable for any instrument. It's going to be a general improvisation tip. We're going to do that, and then we're going to answer some questions. But before that, we're going to listen to Adam. Adam's going to play something for us. Se tiverem perguntas, podem ir mandando aí. Pode ser em português ou em inglês, não importa. Okay, Adam, and what are you playing? What's the...
I have no clue, but trying to figure that out.
Oh, sounds great.
Should we want to go straight to the tips thing, or do you want to...
No, let's actually let's play. Do you mind playing first? Or do you want to...
Okay.
Or it's up to you.
It's up to you.
Okay, it looks like you're ready. You have your pick ready to go. So, yeah.
Ready.
All right.
Let's see.
Adam McPhail on guitar. Yeah, Adam, sounds great, man. Great groove, great time, and great tone too. So good combination, great musician overall. I think they enjoyed it, guys. If you enjoyed the Adam's playing here, you can follow him on Instagram. What's your Instagram, Adam?
It's Adam.McPhail.
Adam.McPhail. Very easy. It's like just his name with dot in the middle. And also feel free to support the channel here, leaving a like. Press that button right there. Make sure it turns blue. Yeah, because that helps the channel, helps us, keep growing and more people get to see those videos. Galera, não esqueçam de deixar o like aí se vocês gostaram para ajudar o canal aí. Great, sounds really good. Great groove and it's a good blend of some cool voicings and a lot of great rhythmic patterns and just great right hand too. That's awesome. Now that you inspired us here to maybe share a tip with them. In the meantime, guys, send questions. I see that we have a couple questions arriving, but we want more. So, so let's. A lot of people when they start improvising, they the step one is just to learn how to play over one chord, right? We're not even talk about playing over changes, just playing over like one chord alone. And Adam and I, we didn't even like plan that very much. We just decided we were gonna talk about this. We might have different ideas, but I think it's kind of cool to share. And if you play guitar or any other instrument, that will apply. So just some ideas of how to play over one static chord. What are some things you can do? Vamos dar umas dicas aqui sobre como tocar e improvisar sobre um acorde parado. Um acorde só, principalmente para quem está começando a improvisar, tanto guitarristas quanto outros instrumentos também. Great. Adam, do you want to go first or? My voice is like...
I think we've heard a lot from me.
Okay.
Do you want me to go first?
Okay.
It might be cool to have here.
Okay, I can go. I don't know, my voice is kind of going out, I don't know why. Drink some... This is not alcohol.
Tea?
This is not alcohol, I promise.
Are you lying to us?
They won't know. No one I'm alone here, so who can tell?
Can't prove.
I just put on this bottle here so people can tell. Okay, so let's take one chord here. I'm gonna give my example over a minor chord. This is pretty basic for anybody who's like already plays a little bit of rock and knows some basic guitar, like basic scales. For example, let's see. Can you hear me okay? So I'm gonna play here a D minor chord. Gonna do it again. So over like this one chord, you could play like a pentatonic scale, like D minor. Very basic, but one of the things you can do, let me stop this here, because another thing you can do, you can play a different pentatonic. So if you're in D, you can play a pentatonic a fifth above, so D, E, F, G, A. So I'm gonna play A pentatonic over D minor. A minor. Another option, I'm keeping it very simple here. Another option is to play a whole step above the key you are. So D, you can play E. So that would sound like this. You're gonna have kind of a Dorian sound. D minor, E minor, and going back and forth. And then you can mix everything. So you have 3 pentatonics. So if you're playing over a minor key, you can play the pentatonic that's a fifth above, or the pentatonic that is a major second above. If you're playing over one chord, and you get a different kind of flavor. Same applies to a major chord. If you're playing over C major, you can play C major pentatonic, or you can go up to a G pentatonic. Or if you want a more like a Lydian sound, you can play D major pentatonic. But I don't want to get too nerdy here. Just give you guys some ideas. I know some of you are not guitarists, so but this applies to a lot of different instruments. If you play piano, those concepts will work just fine. Adam, are you there? He's still there. Yeah. So you're kind of gonna talk about the same kind of idea, right? Maybe in a different chord. Just one last thing. Obviously, I mean, I'm talking about scales and stuff, but again, the rhythm and the feel is still like the most important thing. This needs to be, need to play solid feel and solid phrasing. That's never gonna change. Adam?
All right. So I guess since you did a minor chord, I'll talk about we could say like a 7 sharp 9, like a dominant 7 chord with a sharp 9. So I'll go out of the key of E. Okay, so this is kind of a chord you'll hear a lot in like funk music, and if you ever I can remember in my earlier years, kind of like jamming. You might sit on one chord for a while, and this is a common chord you might find. So, obviously in the key of E, you got your E pentatonic. I think that's what a lot of us start out doing, just like Paulo was talking about, your simple pentatonic. That's kind of a great place to start when you're trying to get into improvising. So I remember in grad school, Mike Valera's, who is a colleague of Paulo and I's, we were talking about, because I really gravitate towards the pentatonic scale, and he was talking about ways that you can, get more mileage out of it, just like Paulo was doing. So here's another approach. So say you're doing E pentatonic. You can go up a half a step and play F pentatonic, F minor pentatonic, and kind of weave in and out of both of them and kind of get a really outside sound. So if I was playing so what I did is I just weaved in and out F minor, E minor, F minor, E minor. So what I did is I went up the scale. Then I went to F minor, and then I pivot, so I do like an enclosure. So an enclosure is when you go like one note above a target note, one note below, and then you sandwich that chord. So if I'm at that note, so if I'm going for this note, I can target it like this. Okay, it's kind of a common bebop thing. So and then I do a pivot, and I go back down E minor, go up to F minor, enclosure, back E minor, F minor, enclosure. So there.
That's great. That's great. Sounds really good. Can you show it again? Just really slow in A minor in the middle of the neck, so it's easy for them to see, like on the fifth fret.
Absolutely. So we'll say A minor pentatonic. So I'm starting on the flat 7, and then I go up to B flat minor pentatonic, and then I pivot back to A minor, back to B minor, pivot, back to B flat minor, pivot, and then I just come down A blues scale.
Great. Yeah, that's awesome. And this will stay on YouTube, so if you wanna, you can come back later and watch it again and get the idea. It's a great sound. Yeah, just those two ideas we that's already gets a lot of mileage out of pentatonics, And make sure you learn all the 5, everybody, like learn the 5 shapes. It's important. Don't stick to just one. We use that one for examples because it's easier to see, but you still want to make sure you play all of them.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, so let's talk a little bit about your endorsements, right? So you have a few companies that you have endorsement from. So can you tell us a little bit about them?
Absolutely. So I'm an artist for about 6 companies, and some of the endorsements are more in depth than others. So I'm with a company, and I believe you can show it on the screen, right?
Yeah, it's right there.
So I'm with a company called Cordial Cables USA. They're a German branch. They're a German company, and they started a branch in USA. And so it's called Cordial Cables USA. And my friend Brian Allen introduced me to those guys. And it's been a great relationship. They've been really great to me, hooked me up with stuff. And I've gone out to NAMM, and I've performed for them, done clinics and videos and whatnot. So I'm with a company called Boss. The parent company is Roland, which a lot of us know for a lot of keyboards and synthesizers and stuff like that. But they have a guitar branch called Boss Effects Pedals. And so I use a lot of their effects pedals on my pedal board. True Tone is another one. I use True Tone distortion pedals. So the distortion pedal that you're hearing is a True Tone Jekyll and Hyde distortion pedal. It's a 2-channel. You can stack them, rhythm and lead. So
it's really great
one of my
sound.
favorite pedals.
Yeah, it's really even through Skype, you hear through live stream and all that. It still sounds pretty good.
Man, I get compliments on that pedal a lot, and I would just recommend it. Just look up those guys. They're actually a local company. They're in Spring Hill, Tennessee. It's True Tone, Jekyll and Hyde. I cannot say enough good things about that pedal.
Definitely, I'm gonna definitely check it out. Yeah, I've seen you play before. I remember that tone. I've been meaning to ask you, so it's great. Great to know they're doing great things.
Thank you.
Did you cover all of them?
No, not yet. All Claire Audio is an in-ear company. So when I play, like when I was on the Double Wars per se, like I was talking earlier, it's an in-ear monitor company, and that's who I use. Rockboard, it's owned by Framus and Warwick, and that's the pedal boards that I use. And then Mono, that's a recent one. I recently became a mono artist, and they have if you're not familiar, they have some of the best pedal gig bags in the world. They're very protective. The model I have basically has like a rubber tire on the bottom.
Yeah, I actually also have that mono case, and it's great. I really love their stuff. They're very careful, and it's really easy for musicians who are working a lot, and you go from one place to the other, and like when I'm teaching or when I'm traveling, like I highly recommend it too. Mono is great. So it was a recent one, that one.
That one was recent, yeah. And the good thing about mono is they have this neck basically support. It holds your neck in place, you know. So if you're flying or anything,
Actually,
mono is like it's the way.
just showed you. I think you're talking about this, right? Like this thing here.
Yes.
Let's see.
That is. If your case tips over, you don't have to worry about your neck breaking because that's gonna hold it.
Yeah, this holds the neck. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, no, it's really, and it has this thing on the bottom here that protects. Yeah, I really like this case.
Yeah, if you drop it, like your guitar is gonna be fine, you know.
And it's light. That's another thing. Like if you're gonna travel, you don't want to be carrying weight. So that's another thing. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So that's the companies I'm with. I can't say enough good things about all of them, and I appreciate everything that they do for me.
Of course, and I want to make sure give you space here to recognize that and those people who support your music. That's great. Very good. Well, I mean, let's take a look at some questions here. I have a few questions for you, Adam. Fernando is asking if you have influenced by Nile Rodgers.
Very much. I've heard a lot of, the kind of single note funk kind of guitar rhythm. He's like the innovator of all that, So, like the guys like Cory, Wong, and Lettieri and all of them, they had to hear Nile Rodgers first, and then the other ones like Prince. Prince is a great one. He did all those like real short, high double stops. So I really gravitated towards that sound, and it influenced my playing.
And also Rafael is asking here if you play some Brazilian music. Do you have any? Have you played a little bit during school or?
To be honest, not really. No. I mean, I think I've. Well, is Joe Beam? Is he Brazilian?
Yeah, he's Brazilian. Yeah.
Okay, so then yes, like I auditioned with Joe Beam's Triste at Belmont, and I did a reharm, and I put some really cool chords with it. So that's about the extent of it. Other than like some jazz standards, like I've never really dove into it.
There's only so much. There is only so much time, so much music to learn. Yeah, no, that's cool. Okay, so and he's also asking here, since you are in the world of gospel, like there are a lot of like great drummers, like in the gospel world. Like, do you? What can you say about that? All this great. Is that something that you've experienced?
Yeah. So just the overall musicianship is great, but the drummers, I don't always like to say the word. A lot of people throw the words gospel chops or whatever, but I just think about it's some people use that in a negative way, some people use it in a positive way, It's its own style, the linear triplet patterns and the chops that come with it. It's really cool, but I had never experienced a drumming style like that until I started playing in the church a lot. So there's really something special to it, Like guys like Calvin Rogers and all them, it's unbelievable.
Cool, that's great. Guys, we are here. We're starting to get close to the end. So if you have a question, that's your chance here to send Adam here a question. Can send me a question too. We'll be here a few more minutes. I guess we do have maybe some time for one last song if you feel like just a little improv or.
I want to hear you play, man.
Oh, I already played. The people in the channel here. Let me tell you this. So I play every week. So today I got you like a great player like you. So I want to make sure they listen and I want to make sure, guys, that you guys follow Adam, on Instagram and check out his stuff. Shoot him a message, if you need a lesson or. He's great, not only a great musician but also a great guy. So Yeah, so that's it. And I'm not very worried about playing. I already played at the beginning. I played my little jam. And if you guys wanna hear,
Good, man. Sound
oh, thanks. And if you guys wanna hear, you can always go back to the beginning of the video, and you guys can hear me play there. I don't know how the sound went because I had to do some things differently here. But maybe if you wanna do just one last one, would be amazing.
Okay. I'll just play us out. We were talking earlier. I think I remember seeing something like this on a YouTube video. It's something I learned from Stevie Ray Vaughan, But let's see. I'll just play a little blues, 12-bar blues out. So. Let's start again.
Yeah, man, sounds great. Sounds great. I was listening to that blues, and then I was like, oh, maybe I should play something. Yeah, you made me wanna play. I was like, I already said I was not gonna play, but I kind of woke up today feeling like playing some rock, Like I didn't have a lot of time to practice today, but just playing some rock and roll. Let's see what I have here. If I can
Rock it
find
out,
the
man.
sound. Can you guys hear all right? Probably too loud.
glad you went last. I can't follow that.
Oh no, man! It sounded great. That was kind of like I was trying to figure out here where to step on my looping pedal, uh, and then my hands
Sound
were.
good though. I love that. I love your tone. Like you said, that's a fractal. Is
That's
that
a
what that is?
fractal. Yeah, for those who are curious what I'm playing and what I'm doing, I'm gonna show here, you guys. So you can probably see it here. That's the one. So I don't need an amp. I just have this, and from here it goes straight to my interface, and from my interface goes straight. So I don't need an amp. So that helps a ton, make everything easier.
Sounds really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I do have my amp, of course, for certain gigs, but for this live streaming kind of situation, it's great. Um,
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see if there is any other questions here. A few more people here. Luiz Cássio, good friend from Brazil. Luiz Cássio, obrigado pela presença. Fernando, thank you. Okay, Adam, Fernando is a friend of mine. He has a YouTube channel too, and on Sundays he hosts a jam session on YouTube, and he's inviting you to come and play a song for the jam session for a bunch of Brazilians. So if you are free and you want to join, I can give you his contact.
What? Yeah, give him my contact.
Yeah.
Give him my contact.
And maybe you guys can figure it out. He just wrote here,
Yeah.
invite him for the jam. So yeah, I'll put you guys in touch, and if you're free, awesome. Great. Guys, well, thank you all so much for being with us here today, and I just want to thank you again, Adam. I think it was a great talk, and thank you for sharing your music and your knowledge here on the guitar. Again, the goal of this is just during this time of COVID-19, like it's we are also isolated, so it's really great to just be in touch with people. And like for me, every week is a blast. Like I always have like great players here who are friends and sound great and know a lot about my guitar, and they are also great for my audience, for the people who watch. So because I mean, we do that because of them, right? Like we really hope that everyone who's watching this enjoyed, and we do it because we love it. We love playing music. We love talking about music. So if you want to share your final words, Adam, please feel free.
Yeah, Paulo, I appreciate you having me. It's good to see you. I feel like I haven't seen you in person in so long.
We don't even
we've
live
seen each other
that
on-
far, and we live kind of close, right? But
do,
same
yeah,
town.
you
But
got-
yeah, with this virus, yeah.
But I appreciate you having me. I appreciate all your friends tuning in. It's nice to play for a new audience. I doubt that I've ever played for so many Brazilians,
Uh-huh.
Brazilian natives.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank them for listening to me. I appreciate their comments too.
Ok, I'll tell them that. Adam está agradecendo a todo mundo que assistiu, principalmente o pessoal do Brasil, que ele não tem chance assim, né, às vezes de tocar para uma audiência diferente aí do Brasil e tal. Então para ele foi uma experiência bacana. Obrigado aí todo mundo que assistiu. E se você não viu, se você não assistiu do começo, vai ficar no YouTube, você pode assistir depois, voltar. Great, and thank you for all American friends and English speakers too. It's a blast to do this. And next week, we're gonna be here at the same time, same channel. I have another special guest that I won't reveal yet, but it will be great. So make sure you tune in next week, same time, 8 p.m. Central Time, 22 horas do Brasil. So please make sure you tune in. And if you didn't subscribe and you didn't hit the like button, if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. That helps the channel a lot. And make sure to follow. You can find all my Instagram, my Facebook, everything on the comments. And make sure to follow Adam on Instagram too, adam.mcphail. You can find his name right there. And he posts some cool stuff. He plays a lot of great music. So let's all stay connected. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks again. And I hope
Thank
to see you sometime soon. in person. But meanwhile, we can keep be in touch through the internet. Same for my friends at home in Brazil and in the West, everywhere. I hope to keep in touch with everybody through the computer. Not ideal, but it's better than nothing. Thank you.
Better than nothing.
Yes. Thank you all so much. Have a great night. I'll see you guys next week on Six String Talk. Bye.